guys, it's Diana. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about my September wrap-up and my October reading goals. So I only read 2 books in September, so yeah, that's how that went. But in my defense, August was the Owls, and I was super busy with them. And I did manage to complete my Owls. I read 10 books, and I became a healer, so good for me in August. But September, man, I'm so sorry to you, September. So let's get on with what I read. The first book I read in September was J. Kristoff and Amy Kaufman's Aurora Rising. This was one of my most anticipated reads. I think I've actually mentioned it on my channel before, and I enjoyed it. I didn't love it as much as I wanted to. Basically, this is about a space crew of misfits that get thrown together due to circumstances beyond their control. You have, I think, like 7 points of view in this book, which kind of makes it a little overwhelming, but it basically starts when their squad leader takes on a supposedly routine mission and ends up getting a rescue call from a ship that shouldn't technically exist. And when he goes to answer the rescue call, he finds a girl that has been cryogenically frozen for like 100 years. And then of course they'll have to sort of zigzag through space and find the answers to this mystery that they've sort of wandered upon, before the people that don't want them to find the answers get them and then kill everyone. If you're a fan of Firefly or Serenity, you will definitely feel like you've read this book because it borrows a lot. Which wasn't necessarily a problem for me since I love both Firefly and Serenity. It was a lot of fun. But you do a lot of jumping around considering the multiple viewpoints, the many multiple viewpoints, and it is pretty action-packed. It's a non-stop sort of thrill ride, I guess you could say. And if you know me, you know I love space books. But there were definitely some characters that I felt more connected to than others, which made the book a little hard to get through at times. Overall though, I really enjoyed it and I gave it 4 stars. The other book I read in September was Laura E. Weymouth's The Light Between Worlds. I actually checked this out from Hoopla. I'd wanted to read it for a while and I saw it on there and I was like, boom, download. This is a book about 3 siblings during a war. The youngest of the siblings, Evie, sends a wish out into the world that she wants to be anywhere but here, and suddenly they are whisked away to the Great Wood. This is a lot like Narnia. Upon entering the Great Wood, they are met with a giant talking stag, I believe, named Service, who explains to them that he has the power to call between worlds and therefore he has brought them to the Woodlands. They spend 5 years there and Evie really grows into herself. She loves it, she considers it her home, and she never wants to leave. However, the other siblings are anxious to get back to their real world, and eventually they do make it back to their own world but have to live with the aftermath of sort of living in another place separate from their world for so long. And the Woodlands themselves were not free from war. They definitely experienced some hardships and some trauma while they were there that they're still sort of processing. The first half of the novel pretty much follows Evie in different viewpoints from the past while they were in the Woodlands to now when they're back in their real world. And the second half of the novel follows Philippa when she is notified that her sister has gone missing. So basically Philippa has to discover if Evie was called back to the Woodlands or if something else might have happened. It is a stunning and haunting book about depression and how we deal with it and the aftermath of the things that we've lived through. Honestly, I actually had to listen to it in smaller doses because it was so heavy and it was so raw, and I was like, oh, this punches you in your gut all the time. And I really loved it. The writing was beautiful. It was incredible. I have nothing bad to say about the writing. It was just perfect. It is very much a character book though. Sometimes you feel like nothing is happening because you're just following these characters around and you're watching them process their emotions, which I happen to love quiet character-driven books, but if that is not your thing, you probably won't like this. And it is a bit of a slower book, so if that's not your jam, then you'll have to think about that. But I really enjoyed it. I also gave this book 4 stars. And that's all I read in September. Now, as for what I'm doing in October, I'm pretty much focusing on arcs. I have 3 arcs to get through this month. I finished up Axio's Rogue Heart, which is the companion novel to Rebel Soul, which I really liked. A couple nights ago, I also finished Rin Chupeko's The Never Tilting World, which is hitting shelves, I think, tomorrow, which I cannot recommend enough. It's amazing. And the last arc I'm working on is London Shaw's The Light at the Bottom of the World. It's a middle grade underwater dystopian adventure, and I'm really loving it, so I'm hoping that I finish that up this week. And then I kind of picked out some spooky books that I want to read. The first being Renee Audier's The Beautiful. I love me a good vampire novel. I hope they make a comeback, so I am really looking forward to reading this. All I know is that there are vampires, and that's really all I need to know to make me want to read it, so yeah. Also, I think it takes place in a reimagined New Orleans, which is a fantastic setting, so totally looking forward to this, and I hope I get around to it. The next book I want to read is Wilder Girls by Rory Power. I've heard a lot of great things about this. I've heard it compared to the movie Annihilation, which I enjoyed. I saw it in theaters. And I hear it's got really great environmental body horror, and it's got girls loving girls in it, which I am always a fan of, so I am really looking forward to picking this up. So that's what I've read, what I'm reading right now, and what I plan to read in the next month. Halloween, I think, is my 3rd favorite holiday, but October is my favorite month overall. Lots of cool things happen, and I do love spooky stuff. But enough about me. What are you reading? Are you picking spooky reads? Are you shying away from the spooky reading? Because I know a lot of people can't do spooky stuff, so what are you reading instead of that? What's your favorite holiday? Are you dressing up? How are your animals? Let me know in the comments and we will talk. That's all from me. Have a fantastic day and be excellent to each other. Bye! P.S. Today is me and my boyfriend's 2-year anniversary, so happy anniversary, Kyle. I love you. Can't wait to have dinner. Bye.